How's it going, everybody? So we are back with another video. Today we are talking about the best used or pre-owned iPhones on the market right now. This is following Apple's WWDC event. So on that event, they have released the list of iPhones that will be supported on the next iOS update. And with that knowledge, now I have compiled a list of the iPhones that I think are the best iPhones that you can buy right now on the used or the pre-owned market. So previously, just before the WWDC event, I released a video and I was telling you which phones you should avoid on the used or pre-owned market. So if you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out. I will include the link below. So that is a video of the list of phones that you should avoid. This one is the list of the phones that you should consider, the best ones that you should first look at if you are on the used or pre-owned market. So let us get to it. Okay, so the first phone on the list is the iPhone XR. So the iPhone XR was released in 2018 and it has an A12 Bionic chip with a single 12 megapixel main camera and a 7 megapixel front or selfie camera. And in terms of the display or the screen, it has a 6.1 inch liquid retina display. Storage options, you have 64 gig, 128 gig and 256 gig. So this is good because based on your budget, you can be able to go for the specific storage that you are looking for. Obviously, the lower the storage, the more affordable the phone. And in terms of pricing, the iPhone XR will cost you somewhere between 6.4 and 7.4. So somewhere in between there, you should be able to find one. Obviously, again, it will depend on the storage option that you opt for. But if you can, I'd advise that you get a 128 gig because you'll find that a 64 gig gets full quick. I mean, we take a lot of photos all the time. There is music that you need to download as well. So before you know it, you may find that you're out of storage. So try and get a 128 gig. And then next we have the iPhone XS, which was released in 2018 alongside the iPhone XR. So the iPhone XS is basically the upgraded version of the iPhone X, which is the iPhone 10. I like to call the iPhone XS the iPhone 10 Pro because if you think about it, that's what it is, right? It's a higher spec iPhone 10. So that's why I like to call it the iPhone X Pro. So this phone was released before Apple came up with the iPhone Pro lineup, which started on the iPhone 11 with the iPhone 11 Pro, which we'll talk about later on the video. And in terms of the camera, the iPhone XS has a dual 12 megapixel camera that has a wide and a telephoto camera. And then the front camera is just like the iPhone XR, it's a 7 megapixel camera. In terms of the screen, it is a 5.8 inch screen with a Super Retina display that also supports Dolby Vision and HDR10. And then storage options, you have 64 gig as the starting, and then there is no 128 gig, there is also a 256 and then a 512. So the downside to the iPhone XS is that you won't get that 128 gig option there. That means that these prices, you might get the cheapest one, which is 64 gig, but then you're jumping to 256, which the price might leave you with a gap there. So unfortunately, you won't be able to get that 128 gig there. So pricing wise, it might be tricky as to which phone to buy. And on to number 3, we have the iPhone 11, which was released in 2019 and it has an A13 Bionic chip. It has two 12 megapixel back cameras, and then in terms of the front camera or the selfie camera, it has a 12 megapixel selfie camera. So this is slightly better than the iPhone XS and the iPhone XR. I think it's only logical that the iPhone 11 has better cameras compared to the iPhone 10. The screen is a 6.1 inch liquid retina display, and size options and storage options is 64 gig, 128 and a 256 gig. So here you can get that 128 gig that I recommend. And on to the next iPhone, that is the iPhone 12. iPhone 12 was released in 2020 and it has an A14 Bionic chip. In terms of the cameras, the iPhone 12 also has a dual 12 megapixel camera. And then in terms of the front camera, it also has a 12 megapixel camera. Screen size, that is a 6.1 inch screen. Storage, you are also able to get a 64 gig, 128 gig or a 256 gig. And part of the iPhone 12, there is an iPhone 12 Pro and an iPhone 12 Pro Max. So just like the iPhone 11 Pro, The iPhone 12 Pro Max will be for those that prefer a bigger phone, and the iPhone 12 Pro, it's for those that prefer a smaller phone. But in terms of specs, both phones are the same. So they also come with a Super Retina XDR display, and in terms of the size option, you have a 6.1 inch screen versus a 6.7 inch screen. And both phones come with a 3 Pro camera system that has wide, ultra wide, and telephoto camera lenses. And in terms of the pricing for the iPhone 12, the standard iPhone 12 will start you somewhere around 10.5, and then the iPhone 12 Pro will start somewhere around 14,999, and then the iPhone 12 Pro Max will start somewhere around 15,999. Obviously, because these are used iPhones, it will depend on when and where you buy these phones, so the prices may vary. These are just estimates based on what I have seen online. So the prices that I'm mentioning here, if you are lucky, you can actually even get these phones cheaper than what I'm saying here on the video. These are just some estimates so that we have a bit of context. And then on to the last iPhone on the used and pre-owned market, that is the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The reason why I'm skipping the standard iPhone 13 is that the iPhone 13 standard, the pricing is actually pretty good. So I think if you can afford to buy a pre-owned one, you should perhaps look at or consider buying it brand new because of its pricing there. So it has a very good pricing point, somewhere around 16,000 rands there. Because I think the pre-owned is somewhere around 15 or 16,000 rands. So the brand new one is 17,000 rands. So I think you're better off going for the brand new one. So in terms of iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max, both phones come with a Bionic A15 chip and a Super Retina XDR display, which has an option of 6.1 inch on the Pro and then 6.7 inch on the Pro Max. Both screens also come with a 120 variable refresh rate. So what this is how smooth the screen is and how many pixels are loaded as you scroll through the phone. So this is the refresh rate per second, which is something that you shouldn't worry too much about, especially if you have never used a phone that has a 120 refresh rate before. Then you can get any other phone. You don't have to worry about those kind of things. And then obviously the cameras are the same. It's 3 cameras with 12 megapixels each. And that is it. So this is the whole list. So let me know what you think on the comments below. Be sure to watch those other videos on the phones that you should avoid, the used and pre-owned iPhones that you should avoid. And then don't forget to watch the other video on the iPhone buyer's guide for those that prefer brand new iPhones as well. I'll make sure that I include both links in the description below. So be sure to like and to subscribe for more. I'll catch you on the next video.